Well, hello again and welcome everyone. So delighted to be joining together with educators far and wide, and good afternoon and good evening. I see that we have guests joining us from all around the country. How exciting. So please go ahead and post a greeting in the chat and let us know where you're joining from. I'd like to begin our program with some quick introductions. I'm Tony Guglielmo, Executive Director of ARTEFFECT, and I'm here with some colleagues this evening that I'd like to quickly introduce. Joining us on the call is our Project Manager for ARTEFFECT, Connor Walden.
Hello, everybody. So nice to meet you. And yeah, excited just for y'all to learn more about the Ambassadors program.
And we also have joining us Katie Ward, who is our program assistant, who is helping with the chat and helping us with technology this evening.
Hi, everyone. I'm just really excited to see all of you here to learn more about the ARTEFFECT program.
And our VIP team member, Mr. Lowell Milken, our founder of the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes, is not on the call this evening, but standing close by to this program. And we will be hearing more about his vision as we go through all of our ARTEFFECT opportunities and activities in the year ahead. So I know that we have people joining us far and wide, and we are interested to see who is on the call with us. So Connor is going to bring up a quick poll with 3 questions. And just to get a sense of who's in our group, I invite you to take a moment and to answer these 3 questions. Right, so we have a few more participants taking the poll. All right, so let's go ahead and close that poll. 75%, 79% participation. All right, well, thank you. So I know we have a lot of people gathered nationwide, and let's just take a quick look at who is in our group tonight with us all. So we have first question, your grade level, what grade level you work with, and looks like most of us are in the 58% in high school, grades 9 through 12, 54% in grades 6 through 8, and a little bit behind in the 30%, almost 30% in K to 5. So, and then some other administrators or some other roles. So, welcome to everyone across those grade levels. Okay, 80% at classroom teachers. Awesome. We have some other staff and teaching artists and some other roles for our roles. Excellent. And wow, okay, 75% are new to ARTEFFECT. So welcome to all the newcomers to ARTEFFECT. We're excited to share about the program. I also wanted to call out some familiar names that I see in our participants list. So welcome to everyone that is returning to ARTEFFECT or has been an ambassador or participating in the competition. So we're delighted that we're all convening this evening together. We're going to spend the next hour learning about the programming and hearing from some of our previous ambassadors. So let's take a quick look at the agenda. And we're going to spend just about the first few minutes talking about the program overview for those of you that are new to ARTEFFECT. We'll talk specifically about the Ambassadors Fellowship and give you opportunity to see what the program looks like on the rollout. Then we're going to be hearing from some of our previous ambassadors about their experience, and we have some time for Q&A at the end of our session. I just want to let everyone know that I know that questions may arise as we're going through this, so feel free to post your question in the chat. Katie is going to be monitoring that, and I will pause as well to take some questions as we go through each of these segments, and then we can have more time for open Q&A at the end as well. And also, just so everyone knows, you've been muted on your sound just to help us with the sound. But if you have the question, go ahead and post that in the chat. All right, so I want to begin by looking at the Artifact, sort of an overview of Artifact and our mission. I see most of you are new to Artifact. So Artifact is an art education initiative. We focus on inviting educators and students to explore inspiring stories of unsung heroes from history, and looking at these unsung heroes as role models. And specifically in the context of role models, we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but uh, unsung heroes, their character traits and actions, and then a diverse range of unsung heroes. And Artifact offers three main areas where we do our programming. So professional development, like the fellowship and some online professional development sessions. We also offer an annual competition to students in grades 6 through 12, and that's international. And then we also are putting on exhibitions. We actually have an exhibition that's just opening soon, and we'll talk more about that at the end. So this is our overall mission, and I want to drill down just a little bit more on the focus on unsung heroes. So unsung heroes are individuals from history that have done extraordinary things. And of course, they're unsung. They are not largely recognized by society or typically found in the history books. So their stories have gone largely unrecognized or untold. But they have, in the process of taking extraordinary actions, change the course of history. And they embody character traits such as courage, compassion, sacrifice, and conviction. And at the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes, we have a focus on unsung heroes whose stories are uncovered through the activities of the center. So in the next slide, you'll see we have over 130 individuals on our list at the Lowell Milken Center for Unsung Heroes that have come through students and teachers working on project-based activities to bring these stories to light. And in Artifact, we work with these individuals that are the LMC Unsung Heroes that cover all fields of endeavor, really STEAM, civil rights, social justice, engineering, STEAM, wartime heroes, education, environment, and also that they span the centuries in their time period. And diverse individuals in geography, in background, in their fields of endeavor. And we're going to be learning more about these unsung heroes as we go through the fellowship program. And our focus is really on this sort of body of knowledge that we're working with. And on the next slide, I was mentioning that the unsung heroes embody altruistic character traits and have demonstrated altruistic actions. So this is sort of a conceptual map of some of those character traits and actions that are folded into the curriculum material and lesson plans that we use in Artifact. So for instance, some of the traits that these individuals embody, like I was mentioning, conscience, courage, creativity, generosity. Some of the actions are to make a difference, to stand up for what you believe, to challenge injustices. And all of this really is kind of guided by our founder, Mr. Lowell Milken's vision that one individual has the power to make a positive and profound difference in the lives of others. And so it's a very positive sort of pedagogy that focuses on that one individual that is the unsung hero. Of course, we all know the educators make a profound and positive difference in the lives of others, so this really speaks to us as educators as well. It's also meant to empower the students to come to discover through the power of their art making, their ability to make positive change in the world by celebrating these unsung heroes and sharing out these stories, and also to inspire others that see the amazing artworks and learn about these stories through the activities of the ambassadors and the students and the educators participating. So it's a very big vision that guides the foundation for our teaching and learning in this community. And I want to also share a little bit about the competition. So I mentioned that we have professional development and we also have an annual student art competition that Artifact has been running since 2016. And Katie is posting links in the chat so you can explore this competition a little bit more in depth if you want to save this link or click on the link. But the competition is international. We have students and young artists from over 40 countries worldwide that participate each year. It invites students to choose an unsung hero from our list of these stories of unsung heroes at the Lowell Milken Center to consider and creatively interpret that individual story in an original work of art. And that can be 2D or 3D. We accept all different kind of media for submissions to this competition. And they also write an impact statement that's about 500 to 1,000 words that talks about this individual as their role model, what they've come to admire, what's inspirational about the way that they've made a positive difference on the course of history, their own creative process, and how they hope their art making can have an effect and power and inspire others. So the annual competition is very exciting. We have been running this, as I mentioned, since 2016, and the next competition cycle will open October 1st and run through April 21st, 2026. And you will be receiving some information about that. We invite you, if you're new to this, to just look at the amazing artworks that the students have produced. And on the next slide, we have just a very high level glance at some of these amazing artworks. We awarded 34 artworks as winners in the competition across various categories that include $6,000 grand prize, high school best in show in second place, middle school best in show in second place, as well as certificates of excellence at the judge's discretion, and spotlight prizes, which focus on specific individuals that we choose each year that students may be inclined to choose or focus on. So we put a spotlight on those individuals, as well as different media. So last year we had students that were interested in 3D or large format, and we made a spotlight prize for those categories as well. So you can see the link there in the chat to take a deeper dive and check out some of these amazing projects. So we're going to take a look now at the Ambassadors program, which is, I know, why everyone has come here this evening to learn more about the fellowship, and we're very excited to share this information with you. And before we get started there, I just would like to invite everyone to just reflect for a moment. You can jot this down on a piece of paper, or, you know, if you would like, we would love to hear from you in the chat. To share about what you're seeking for your professional development. So, you know, why are you here? What brought you here? What attracted you? What are you looking for at this stage in your professional development? And this can be a lot of different things, whether it's networking or some new content or, you know, sharpening your instructional practices. But go ahead and share some of those thoughts, and I'll just have some rapid responses in our chat. Awesome. Justina is looking for people who aren't typically who aren't typically that students don't typically learn about. That's excellent. As a social studies teacher, welcome. We are focused also on arts integration. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Yes, and Janine, we're going to hear from the types of projects that ambassadors work with their students. Oh, another Meredith, another STEAM teacher. Awesome. Networking, Angela. Great. Megan Henry, welcome. Nice to see you. We're going to be challenging yourself and your students to take their artwork to the next level. Awesome. And collaboration, giving voice. Hello, Laura. Excellent media. So we're going to be looking at media production. All right, these are awesome. So thank you for sharing these out. And Panina is hello, Panina, a fellow from last year, who's a Hebrew teacher. and did an arts integration project. Okay, great. So let's take a quicker look at, well, everyone is in the right place. We're so excited to get to know you better. And on the next slide, we're going to take a quicker look at what it means to be an ambassador. I know that you've probably looked at that 2-page info sheet. Katie's going to post that in the chat for you that has all the details about the program that I'm going through. And I also wanted to mention that you'll be getting a copy of this slide show and some of these important links in a follow-up email. So don't worry if you're not catching all of the information right here. So what does it mean to be an ambassador? Well, about 3 years ago, we started this program. So this is the third year that we'll be running this fellowship. And it was really a way to engage teachers to work with this material more deeply. As I mentioned, the competition had been running since 2016, but we really didn't have like a lot of resources or an opportunity for teachers specifically to work with the content. So the Ambassadors Fellowship is an opportunity for professional development to really engage with this content in ways that are very learner-centered. And so what the fellowship offers is participation throughout the year in a series of live online modules. And these modules are taught by some of our Lowell Milken Center fellows, as well as art practitioners and experts in the field. It's an opportunity for you to, to shape what you want your capstone to be about. So there's a capstone project that is what you're working towards for the year. And that is an opportunity to bring this material into your classrooms and communities and to shape your strategies for any kind of instructional practice, whether it's STEAM or media or taking the artwork to the next level like we were just talking about, or celebrating these stories of untold stories from history. As I mentioned, the capstone project is really the culmination of what you're working towards all year. And you also are part of bringing the competition into your classroom. We're going to be sending you promotional materials that you can share out, and you'll be part of the larger Artifact community for helping us to share out in an ambassador role information about Artifact and about how that has worked for you, and join with our larger community of practice. We're going to be a cohort. I think I saw someone in the chat earlier ask this, but I was going to take a pause and Katie can catch me up on any of the questions. We're looking for a cohort of about 30 ambassadors for the fellowship. And we're going to do some promotions. Will be posted on the Artifact website. And in the fellowship carries a stipend of $12.50, and we also provide you with $250 in terms of materials credit for your use on supplies or anything that you might need for materials or anything that can support your fellowship. All right, so let's see. I'm going to pause after this next slide. So let's go into the next slide, and then I'll, Katie, if you have any questions before we go into the next level that I have missed. So on this next slide, this is all in that information sheet, but I wanted to give you the main date. So our program kicks off October 29th with Module 1, which is an overview. That's a 2-hour module, and that module is mandatory. So we want the whole cohort to come together, and we work in small groups, and we meet some of our previous ambassadors, and we really get a look at, what does it mean to teach and learn around the Unsung Heroes. And then there's a series of modules that run throughout the year, about one per month. We have a break in March. And I know many of you will be going to the NAEA or maybe thinking of going to the NAEA. So that month, catch-up time and conference time. So we run from the end of October to the beginning of April with our modules, and these are the dates and the times. And as part of the fellowship, you are required to come to Module 1 and Module 6, and then at least as many as you can. We expect that you would come to all, but we know that it's hard sometimes. So at least 4 of the 6 with the 1 and 6 required. So hope to see you in all of these modules, but if you can at least look at these dates and make sure that they work for you and commit to at least 4 of them. And You are also working on that capstone project, which we'll talk a little bit more about. We've invited some of our previous ambassadors here to share about their experience. So I'm going to leave them to tell you a little bit more about their experience working on their capstone. We have online events throughout the year and a growing network on Facebook. We use Slack. So hopefully you're going to feel part of a nationwide cohort in this learning experience. The modules run from 4 to 5:15, except module 1 and 6, which you can see are 2 hours. In the last module, module 6, everyone comes together and shares out about their capstone project. And even though this is the date, April 8th, the program ends officially June 1st. So you will have time between the end of the last module to June 1st to file a final report about your activities. Once you file that report and all of your activities are completed, then we are distributing the stipend at that point. So everything has to be like sort of wrapped up by June 1st. All right, so let's see, how am I doing on time? So I have a little bit of time. I want to get to our guests. Any questions, Katie, that have come up that I should address right now?
Everything's been answered.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right, so on the next slide, I want to just give you a high level look at the capstone project. And the capstone project is an opportunity for you to do that deeper dive, to focus on your instructional practice or a specific kind of art media that you wanted to explore with your students, whether it's 3D or large format or choice-based kind of pedagogy. It's an opportunity for you to share out what you're doing with the wider community. So capstone projects can take many different forms or combination of these, and these are just some examples. You can work on bringing this into your classroom by taking one of our lessons and implementing that, and then having an exhibition in your classroom or in your school or in your district or in your community space, such as a library or community center. You can make a presentation at a professional conference if the timing aligns, and we've had some ambassadors do that, or actually do it as a follow-up in just an ongoing activity for themselves. An exhibition of student projects, as I've mentioned, some really amazing student projects from our ambassadors, digital or actual physical space. You can create your own lesson plan that's modified for your specific group of students. You can do a publication, and we've had some student ambassadors do that as well. So let's see on the next slide. Just want to make sure that I've answered questions about eligibility. So this is an opportunity for educators that are working specifically with students in grades 6 through 12. If you aren't in grades 6 through 12 and you're in K through 5, we're not opening the fellowship to you at this time, but you can please stay connected with our community because we offer online sessions throughout the year with lesson plans that are scalable. So for the fellowship, you should be working directly with students in grades 6 through 12, whether as a classroom teacher or as an administrator, as a teaching artist, as a librarian, as a private art instructor. And you don't necessarily need to be a visual arts educator, but you should be, wanting to embrace and foster teaching and learning through the visual arts in your classroom and have that capacity to do so. So you can do arts integration projects if you're not a visual arts educator. And we have had previous ambassadors that have been like Panina, who's on the call, a Hebrew teacher, social studies teacher, as well as U.S. history or STEAM. So you're welcome to take a look at this opportunity. And so that's who's eligible. And we've, on the next slide, you can see we've been running this program for 2 years already. And this is our 3rd year. And Connor, if you would go to the next slide quickly, we're going to put a link in the chat. You can see some of our previous ambassadors. We've posted their profiles on our website, so you may know some of these people, and I know maybe you've been referred to them as colleagues to join us here tonight. I got several recommendations from ambassadors. So I hope that if you've been referred, you will take a look at this and reach out to me as well. We've had people from across the U.S. I want to say I think it's 21 different states and 56 ambassadors over the course of the last 2 years. All right, and now we're going to hear from some of our ambassadors. So we have some special guests joining us this evening, and I'm excited to I've invited our previous ambassadors to come so that they can share out firsthand what the experience has been like for them. And we're going to hear from them just about their capstone project, teaching and learning, a highlight. We have some slides for each of our guests, and we're going to go into this segment right now. So I'm going to welcome our guests and just make sure that everyone is on the call. So Rebecca.
Yes,
Yes, hello, Rebecca. It's so nice to see you.
it's good to see you.
Yes, and so these
Um,
are our ambassadors joining us this evening. So happy to see everyone because we haven't actually maybe seen each other since June, unless we've been very lucky. So nice to see everyone, and thank you for joining us again this evening and being back online with us. And these are our 2025 ambassadors. So Rebecca is a visual arts teacher from Ida B. Wells in Jackson, Mississippi, and has been a participant in ARTEFFECT and has had students also go through the ARTEFFECT competition. So Rebecca, we have your 2 slides here, but I invite you to share out for just a few minutes your experience about being an ambassador.
well, I had a great experience. I was encouraged to apply by a coworker, and she had actually been an ambassador, and so I'd seen some of what she had done with the students. So I was really excited about it, and I learned so much from doing this program. It was just a wealth of information. So my students are teaching a public school, inner city school, and it is an academic and arts magnet school. And so for when I was thinking about my capstone, I really wanted to help my students make a connection to who they chose as their hero. So for part of my capstone, I made playing cards, and that's an example of the card down there on the bottom left. On one side, I included the QR code that links to the Lowell Milken site. And on the other side, I just did bullets of information. And the kids would play, we would play, we called it pass-a-cards. They would get 2 cards and they would keep one, and they just would go around. And my hope was that they would find something about someone that they connected with, whether it was through gender or race or some common, it could be anything, something that they had in common, because I felt like it would make a stronger connection when they did their research and made their artwork. And it worked. It was great. They really knew their people, and they were very important to them. And so that was what my goal was, and it did work. I'm a 3D teacher, and so my students were required to create a 3D piece. Now they could use whatever they wanted. So I had students that chose what they enjoyed working in. And so I had students that worked in everything from ceramics to polymer clay to cardboard, an altered book. I mean, they really amazed me at what they were willing to kind of do to show what they wanted to show about their hero. I think I did do a show at the end in the community at an art center downtown, and that was a lot of fun. And so many people were able to see people were very intrigued by the project and the research that they had done. I think for me, I really got so much out of doing the professional development. I went to all of them and I got so much information that I could apply to other things. So there's a lot of information that you're given that I can adapt to other projects. And I just thought that was really valuable, and I enjoyed that part of it. I was able to present my experience at a spring conference for the Mississippi Art Education Association. So, that a lot of people have asked me a lot of questions about it and are very interested in how it works with students. So,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca. I mean, I think, hearing about your cards was when you presented that idea for a capstone, a really nice example of how you have made this like a learner-centered activity where you wanted to be able to provide something for your students to have the choice in the selection of the Unsung Heroes. We've heard that the list of over 130 individuals can be daunting. We are coming up with a new website. So if you're visiting our website, fingers crossed, we'll have a new website launch before the end of September, which has activities for helping to sort through the Unsung Heroes. And I've heard from so many ambassadors how important that step is, and that they are able to find an individual that really resonates with them, because that's the foundation of making their project, meaningful and feeling invested. We have students who say, I really want to champion that person because they did something so amazing, but their story wasn't told. So they really come to connect, and that connection is what you've really helped them with, Rebecca. And also very multifaceted in your capstone. You've done many different things. So the presentation, an exhibition, a lesson, focusing on 3D, which was awesome last year. We had that focus, and the teaching resource. And thank you for sharing out. So next up, we have Matt Young. And Matt Young is a visual arts teacher, now one of our award-winning ambassadors. And so Matt is joining us from Ohio.
Hi everyone, Tony and the whole Artifact competition. Thank you for having me. I am a 30-year teacher at Pickerington Central High School. It's a suburb of Columbus. We got about 2,300 students, and ironically, I was introduced to this program when it was a loan booth in NAEA in 2015, and there was one person sitting there. But the thing that caught my eye was the passion that they had for this program, and the fact that it was speaking to a diverse population that we were starting to see grow in my suburb. So I don't know if you want to flip to the next slide, since I know I got 3 minutes. So I've spent about 10 years doing this, and like Tony said, I've had a few winners. I've been blessed in that effect, but I've had a lot of art shows and I've done a lot of stuff, so maybe I'm a little different than some of the other ambassadors out there. So my focus was mainly professional development for art educators, or actually any educators, for getting them introduced in this program. I found that they had grown so much over 10 years, and there was so much information. Sometimes we as teachers find it hard to weed through some of those things when somebody just says, hey, go see this amazing thing and go do this particular thing. So I've been working a lot with my state association and National Education Association as a curriculum development person. So I focus my capstone on kind of narrowing down a program where teachers can kind of jump right in at their own pace, have students connect to personal heroes within their own lives, and then connect those personal heroes to the unsung heroes. And this could be used for any media, any subject matter, any lesson, 3D or 2D. But I really do love this program. And since I'm nearing retirement, I really wanted, if you want to go to the next slide, I just really wanted to pass it on to other teachers. So far, I've been lucky enough to speak at 2 different places, and it was very well received there. One of them was actually not an art education conference, but a more forward-thinking future educational conference. So that was nice to see other teachers that weren't art teachers be very accepting of the program. And my hope is that I can empower other art teachers with 2 other upcoming presentations within the year to really dive in, not feel so intimidated, and work at their own pace. Because like I said, this is a great program that has really helped my students connect to heroes that they would probably never, ever know.
Matt, thank you so much. I just want to summarize for it's wonderful to see you and so excited that you could join us. And like Rebecca, so happy to see you again. So Matt, really appreciate how you brought together your speaking skills. You're a leader in your state as an art educator and a recognized leader, an award-winning art educator, and what you were doing in your capstone is really just bringing together your skills as in public speaking, in professional development, really embracing that idea of the ambassador role in helping to bring this teaching and learning to other classrooms. And so Matt presented, as you can see here, very detailed plan for where he was able to share out this information, provide our resources, and develop some new resources based on our materials to his network of art educators. So thank you for that, Matt. It's another angle on a capstone project. I saw a quick question in the chat, just want to address before we go to our next guest, Sudi Mamarzadeh, who's coming up next. Should you have a meaningful individual picked out and included as part of our application? So in your application, we ask you to identify what you would want to do for your capstone, and you don't have to have it formalized. We give you some ideas, and you're seeing some ideas here. So it could be, you know, any of these ideas that resonate, but you don't have to focus on any specific unsung hero unless you really want to. That can come later in the process, and the students can choose unsung heroes. So you're really talking about the method that you would want to bring for bringing this into your classroom or community as a capstone, which is you should sketch out in your application. All right, so up next is Sudi. And Sudi is joining us from Escondido, California. So she's here and just a few miles away from us here in Santa Monica. Sudi.
Hi. Oh, thank you, Tony, for introducing me. So I was receiving the emails from Artifact for a couple of years before I decided to apply. And I mostly applied because I'm a TOSA, and I was encouraging other teachers art teachers that I help to apply, and none of them had time for the application, and they were not sure about the program. So I teach a class too. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna apply myself to see how it goes. And I applied, and I have to say that I have a partner that I teach with, David Nemciano. And we have about 200 10th graders in a magnet high school. And the high school is a science-driven high school, but we were able to create a strong art program. We love this project. We are also CTE. So Tony was really nice to play the role of our client for students. They called into my classroom, and we launched the project like that. And that is always very effective with our students. We also do teacher studios, which is other teachers, they observe you. And it was my turn to be observed. So we picked the writing part of the project to be observed, because we have to teach writing and creating artwork. And I cannot say enough about how strong this project is. Because when you have an idea as an art teacher, like creating scaffolding and creating learning goals and putting it all together, and what's the writing piece, what's the creative piece, what's the research piece, this project will walk you through what they have done is an amazing job. It will walk you through with all these steps. So I just provided the list of the heroes to my students, and they all went and searched up a hero that they like. They all have iPads, so it was to be digital, or some of them were more comfortable drawing it. And it was our comic book unit, so they had to create one page of a comic book for it. So they first picked their hero, then they did the research, and after the research, for the writing, we did one paragraph at a time for 4 paragraphs. And it was on-demand writing, because these days with AI, you want to see the students working. So we did on-demand writing, and the teachers that were observing me, they were really amazed. And I can't take the credit for it because the project is so well designed, and the professional learnings that you go and you participate in, it's not demanding, it's not heavy work, but it's just to the point, very useful, and of course, it fulfills the professional development too. So I had one student that was a finalist. I also have my own private studio with really just a handful of kids here and there. And one of them actually got a prize, received a winning prize. And we had, between me and my colleague, we had 150 completed pieces that we printed out, and it was on the show for about a month at our local gallery in Escondido Arts Partnership, and they loved it. And the gallery director, she was hanging the pieces, and she was overwhelmed because she never had this huge project of 150 pieces. But then she learned all the heroes, and she knew about all of them. So I cannot emphasize enough what a strong project this is. And you get the support that we receive from Tony and her staff. It was just really, really good. It was truly meaningful. We had breakthroughs with the students. And some of my students created amazing work, but they were shy to submit, so I have to go back and talk them to submit the work this year. But it doesn't matter if they submit their work to the website to be part of the judging process or not. What matters is that they learn a lot. It has history content, it's research content. It's a very, very good project, very easy to do and very fun. Yeah, we loved it.
Sudi, thank you so much. I'm just like blown away by Rebecca, Matt, and Sudi saying all these wonderful things. Just like it's so nice to hear how meaningful it has been, and I'm just so happy to hear again how valuable this fellowship has been, and hopefully this is encouraging to our prospective applicants. I wanted to call out, Sudi, the capacity. You said over 150 students participating on this project in your classroom, and just to underscore the involvement and how you were able to bring this far and wide to your students. Sudi also mentioned that we were visiting her classroom as like the client for her students to, treat this as an entry into the competition, as a deliverable with a beginning and an end and a deadline and guidelines. And that was very fun for us. We've decided to offer virtual visits to classrooms as part of our Artifact offerings, just to support fellows and ambassadors or any other teacher. That will be on our new website coming soon. And also, Sudi, you really also expressed here how you had that student who was a winner. You had a wonderful article that was published as well. So a lot of publicity, which is advocacy, of course, for you, for your community, for your students, for everything. So you really were able to shine a light on the amazing teaching and learning that happened.
Yeah,
And
I figure out that from the city that I live in, two kids actually received cash prize from you. So that was enough motivation factor to call in a local newspaper, and they wrote an article about both the students. The senior student had nothing to do with me; it was just a neighboring high school, but that was great.
yes, yes, thank you for being an ambassador in that role as well. So awesome. Thank you so much. So we also have up next Denise Webb, and excited to hear from her. And hopefully that these opportunities are giving you some ideas about what you can do for your capstone. So let's hear from Denise. Denise is a visual arts teacher who's joining us from Louisville, Kentucky, and we're excited to meet Denise in person last year when we were all convening at NAEA in Kentucky.
Right. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Yes,
Denise.
hi. So nice to meet everyone tonight. It's exciting to be here. Yes, I'm a high school visual art teacher from Pleasure Ridge Park High School in Louisville, Kentucky. My school is a Title I public high school. We have a very large at-risk student population, and I just found this project to be wonderful in terms of engaging the students, helping them to build empathy, and even more importantly, making community connections with parents and just the community in general in Louisville. I applied for the ambassador program last year. My main goal was to gain access to all of the wonderful resources that are provided by Artifact. I had done the competition a couple of times with my students after the pandemic. When we came back to school, and we were just there like during NTI, I used Artifacts a couple of years and had such success with it that I decided to go ahead and apply for the ambassadorship. And what I found is it's just been a wonderful way to connect with other educators across the country. The lesson materials are wonderful. They're able, you can weave them together really seamlessly to go back and forth. If you do any online learning, it works really well for that. There's a lot of modules that students can, go and work on their Chromebooks and do their research, and then come back into the classroom in the studio during studio time and create their artwork. We spent about a semester on the project. I started it in January, and we wrapped it up. We were working pretty much till the end of May to finish everyone's work. I did have, I forgot to check the number. I think I had about 20 that we entered into the competition. And then we had two finalists, which were awesome. That was awesome and a really nice surprise. Let's see, I allow full voice and choice in my classroom. So I allow students to use materials that they choose after they learn how to handle the materials and processes. And so they really enjoyed that. They were able to interpret their art in their own way once they chose their hero. And I think most importantly, Artifacts provides the tools, all the wonderful materials that are provided throughout all of the PD through the year really helped me provide students with the tools to explore the complex topics, that as they were navigating through the heroes and their stories, and it allowed them to have full creative freedom for interpretation. For my capstone, as you'll see here, we did a we did a school-wide exhibit first in our building with all the original artwork and their artist statements, and that was on display. We have a display case near the front office of our building, and that was up all summer when we had visitors to the building. So we did that, and then we also had a school literary magazine called the PRP Pulse, and students helped curate that and help design a special section in our literary magazine. And so they were able to include their artist statements and the reproductions of their artworks there. They had to condense their artist statements to make it fit into the section. And that is also circulated online and in the community and also at the library. And then lastly, we had a community-wide exhibit at our local library, and that was really exciting. Students helped design some panels that we had digitally printed so that they were all uniform size, and they were able to include their full artist statement with their artwork, panels about artifacts to help educate community members about that. And they connected it with the summer reading program, and the students researched books that connected with the person they had chosen for their artwork. And so the library was able to have shelves underneath the book, holding the books underneath the artwork. So they had a lot of students checking those books out over the summer, and it's in the teen section of the library, which is a big hangout spot in our area. So that was really exciting.
Awesome, Denise. This is another multifaceted capstone project. So wonderful to see your slides again. The amazing exhibit at the Louisville Free Public Library and the Pulse magazine, which is your literary magazine with the feature of Artifact. So just awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of
Thank
that.
you.
And I know it's inspiring for hopefully not to, I mean, these are such stellar capstone projects. So hopefully all of our fellows are getting some ideas and seeing the variety of things that you can do. And thank you for executing all of that so wonderfully with your beautiful exhibit at the library and the way that you formatted that. Just wonderful. So next up we
Thank you.
have Carrie. Carrie Reynolds, welcome. Carrie is joining us from Houston, Texas, and is an art educator, also ambassador from last year. So Carrie, take it away.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hi, Tony. Thank you for having me share. So I'm an art educator from Houston, Texas, and I found out about the ambassador program through being at NAEA. I had heard about the Artifact program, but I wasn't really familiar enough with it. I hadn't integrated it yet into my classroom, and I decided to apply, and I'm so glad I did because it provided me with all the resources I needed to really integrate this into my curriculum. And so my capstone really focused on community as a central foundation. So first, connecting students to heroes within their community. So we looked at local artists whose work was housed in a newly built community center, and then expanded into learning about the unsung heroes, and then circling back and teaching the community about the unsung heroes. And so the goals, making sure that the students were able to engage with local artists, learn about the art in their community, and then collaborate together across multiple courses, and then create the exhibit, which was in the community center. And it's actually still going on right now through the end of this month. So it's been on exhibit for 4 months. And so what I did kind of to make this happen is really focus on the teaching and learning again. And so the newly built community center also houses a library. So we use those resources to not only explore the local artists, see the artwork in the community center, but also to explore the unsung heroes. And so having that connection with the local librarian is really helpful for resources space, because many of them had never, been to the new community center and the library. And then really to focus on the research. So having students research an unsung hero that resonated with them, that was really important. They needed to feel a connection with that hero, that they related to the story that they were interested in, and then taking all that research and synthesizing it into creating works of art. Again, the students had their choice of materials, but I wanted to allow students of all different courses and levels to be a part of this, not just the students who were in the advanced courses. And so the way I did that is I had the digital students, they worked on creating posters for the exhibit that had QR codes that would make the exhibit more interactive, linked to bios about the history of the unsung heroes. And then we did a slideshow, and then having students in the drawing and painting courses actually produce the work. So all students, regardless of kind of their prior experience in art or their preferred media, were able to contribute and be a part of this exhibit. And they just got so excited about kind of sharing what they learned with the greater community and going and seeing the exhibit and knowing that it was beyond just what we did in the classroom. It impacted the whole community, because that's really what's so great about this program is all the real world connections. And there's the cross curricular between art and social studies, of course, but just having those real world connections that the students can see, and they're applying their critical thinking, communication, collaboration, all the 21st century skills that are so important for preparing students. So it was just a really great experience being an ambassador and just bringing this program into my curriculum. So I'm just so happy I was able to be a part of it, and I plan to continue on with this in the future with my students this school year.
Awesome, Carrie, thank you so much for this. It's been so wonderful to hear again how you were doing this very thoughtful, deeply layered pedagogical approach that includes the local artists, the critical thinking, the various use of the technology that was right, and how you were able to help the students synthesize all of this, and in your amazing exhibition. So it's wonderful to see you. Thank you for sharing this out. I'm seeing a lot of good comments in the chat about how this is inspiring some of our prospective applicants. And on your application, if we go to the next steps, Connor, if you want to jump ahead there, in the application, you will see that there's you don't have to have it figured out just yet, but some opportunity for you to say what you might be interested in. And so hopefully this gives you some idea of how you can bring this into your classroom and outline that. I wanted to quickly talk about next steps, because I know we only have about 8 minutes left, and be sure that we can answer some questions. So if this is sounding like it's an opportunity that you would really like to participate in, I encourage you to apply. So the fellowship is for those educators or administrators, people working directly with grades 6 through 12. If you're in a K through 8 situation and you can focus your capstone on those higher grades 6 through 8, then go ahead and describe that in your application. And as long as you're working with directly with those students in your capstone, that would be you would be eligible for the fellowship. So review that information sheet, which has these dates. We're going to send out this recording. You can always reach me if you have any questions at artefect@lowmilken.org, and I will put that in the chat for you. So you will apply by September 15th, and then we are going to have an internal review. We have a panel that will review the applications, and you should be hearing by no later than October 10th. So there's time for you to be prepared for October 29th for our first module. So that is the rollout, and then keep those key dates in mind for the modules. We have our link here to our website. I wanted to just go back a second to see if there's any Q&A. And if you want to, you can go ahead and post your question in the chat if you have a question that we haven't addressed. And I wanted to see if Connor could bring up our website. I know that I've invited you to go explore this, but I wanted to show you because uh, I so appreciate our educators sharing how meaningful this has been, teaching and learning, and the amazing artworks. And just to be sure that you had a chance to see some of our winners from our last competition. All of the projects, as we know, are valuable at any level because the teaching and learning is what's most important, and the meaning of connecting and celebrating these heroes from history. But just so that you could see some of these award-winning artworks were just amazing artworks, and how the students have creatively interpreted these stories through a variety of media. So Connor is scrolling through our 2025 winners here. We had 34 winners this year, an exceptional range of artworks that were, drawing, digital, multimedia, oil painting, mixed media. So just amazing works. And if you click into these, you can read the student's impact statement and get a sense of also a little bit more from the student's perspective, how meaningful this has been as well for them from these valuable educators that have been working with them. So invite you to explore that. And so we're going to be, I guess we're going to go to our last slide, Connor. We have our email up there. And before we end, just be mindful, we have about 4 minutes. I wanted to shout out Panina Ben Perlas is also on the call with us, if she's still with us. Panina, are you here? Panina. So Panina's not expecting me to call on her, but Panina is another 2025 ambassador who is visiting with us. So hello to Panina. Panina is a Hebrew teacher who took on the project in an arts integration capacity and had her students choose a hero and then write their impact statement in Hebrew as well as in English. So welcome to Panina if you're still here.
Thank you. I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here.
yes, hello. So nice to see you,
Can I,
Panina.
hello, can I say
yeah.
something real
Yes,
quick?
please. We
Hi,
have 3
everybody.
minutes. So
Happy
go ahead.
to be here
So nice to see
today.
you.
Nice to see you too. I decided to join despite my health situation right now. I don't have the heart not to participate.
Oh, we just miss you. So nice to see you again.
Oh, okay. So we'll talk, but I just want to say that even the head of the school mentioned this project during graduation, and on our trip to Poland, March of the Living, a student shared his project and played his art piece on the piano in the museum.
Yes, that's so wonderful. I just want to call out to everyone, Panina, as as a Hebrew language teacher, not really having a lot of experience, did an amazing capstone where she invited an alum from their school who's now an artist to come visit her students to help bridge that visual arts aspect, and then have the students do their project in focusing on the language, but also making amazing artworks, even though they we're not in an art class. So thank you for sharing from that arts integration perspective as well for us this evening. And so nice to hear from you. All right, any questions that I've missed, Katie? Anyone have any questions? We hope that you will reach out if there's anything that we didn't address or that occurs to you as you're completing your application. The applications are due September 15th. Any troubles, just reach out to us at ARTEFFECT at Low Milken. If you are working with someone that you want to work with, we invite you to submit your own application with your own individual capstone that stands on its own. Of course, you will be collaborating with other colleagues like Sudi was, but make sure that you're submitting a strong application. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining. It's just about time for us to end our program. So any last questions? Katie?
No, there wasn't any follow-up questions in the chat.
All right, everyone. So we have a Facebook group, ARTEFFECT Art Educators. We invite you to join that. And you can stay connected with us there. We are going to collectively unmute so we can say a collective goodbye. And we look forward to staying connected with you and seeing your application. So Connor's going to unmute us all, and we can thank you for joining. Thank you for our guests, that are previous ambassadors who took the time, for everyone who's joined far and wide, and for my team for supporting us this evening. So have a good evening, everyone, and we will look forward to hearing from you.
Bye.
Bye.